Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant. We're back live after 2 weeks of not quite live, but we've made sure the content was out there. We are back live for your listening pleasure. My name is Aaron Patrick, as always, and it is episode number 64, the date 8th of January, and we're looking forward to getting ourselves onto this week's Ask the Accountant. Johann, how's your week been? You're in the same
Good
place, so I
morning.
assume it's exactly how it should be over in your end.
Yeah, all back. I'm still in my office. Bloody cold this morning. We've got snow coming apparently, so temperatures are
Oh.
plummeting. All the fun. But yeah, good morning and welcome back to 2024. It's exciting. Yeah, busy week last week, just pottering on with tax returns, catching up with the team after all their prolonged holidays for Christmas and stuff. So yeah, and where are you today?
Well,
Because this is not the normal setup.
no. We tend to do this every year. It's the wife's birthday tomorrow, so we're down in Norfolk or across to Norfolk. So I'm doggy daycare at the moment as Mulberry's enjoying herself. So yeah, they've gone out for shopping. We'll be down at the beach later at some point. Yeah, looking forward to it. So it's nice to get away, isn't it? Just to I'm working all the way through, but it's nice just to have a different environment to do your tax returns in. It's well worth it. So yeah, get to go on the beach every single day is nice to have, isn't it? So all good.
Yeah.
But how was your Christmas though? You had a good Christmas, Johann? You enjoy it?
Yeah, not bad. I 2 long weekends, full of cold. Had proper, literally, my body just goes, oh, he's off for the next 4 days. Right, hit him now, burn him out, kill him off. He'll come back. So literally, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, death warmed up.
Yep.
Wednesday, tired but getting better. Thursday, Friday, I was back working, absolutely fine. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, full of it again. Like,
what you need.
my body reserves my illnesses for when I'm off. It does my head in, but hey ho. But yeah, no, it was quiet. Didn't really do much or go anywhere. Very relaxed. Just a bit of R&R, which I think I needed, obviously. How about yours?
Very, very similar. Yep, it was good. We enjoyed having a time off, having a bit of a downtime. So yeah, but now back into it. January silly season's here, which is one of the topics we're going to be covering today. But it's good to see everyone's back in as well. We got the chat is lighting up. We got Cheryl there. Good morning, Cheryl. Happy New Year to yourself as well, Paul. And Louise is there as well. And remember, if you've got any questions or if you want to put anything into enhance the show, then drop any comment in as we go. Let's jump on the topic bandwagon then and go through some of the topics we have today. I think we have to address a bit of an elephant in the room if you look at the social media posts or media in general, isn't it? Like everyone's talking about this at the moment, and especially prevalent for our client base, as near enough probably 50% of our clients use this particular as a solution. But that's HMRC's crackdown on eBay, Vinted, Depop, Airbnb. Well, let's get the terminology right. It's not a clampdown because the rules haven't changed. The rules are exactly the same as they were before. And I think that's the bit that I keep trying to remind people every time we go into social media and everything else. But they have had a clampdown in terms of they're going to be sharing information back and forth with HMRC. So basically, if you or you know anyone who has annual turnover over £1,750, which is a very random amount, I think it's supposed to be the €2,000, isn't it? It's supposed to be equivalent to that as possible. Or you make more than 30 sales on eBay. Then from next year, so from January next year, HMRC will disclose that. Sorry, eBay will disclose that to HMRC. And if you're not doing tax returns, you might get yourself in a bit of hot water. So yeah, it's been a bit of an odd one, isn't it, in terms of the fact that they're really, really pushing for it. And I don't think the messaging's been right, has it, at all?
No, this is the media, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, exactly.
The media's blown this completely out of proportion. And you know what? For some of these providers like Uber, Just Eat, and Airbnb, they've been doing this for years. They've been passing on data to HMRC for years because they had to agree to it back when they had tax investigations. So basically, in light of a reduced, well, this was never official, but we can assume it's fairly coherent. That like Airbnb suddenly had to be VAT registered. HMRC investigated for not being VAT registered. It went very high up, and it was decided no, you should be VAT registered. And in light of some probably softer penalties than one of our clients might get, Airbnb in return agreed to hand over sales data of people renting out properties on Airbnb on an annual basis. Uber have done something very similar as well. So this information's already been going. It's just now legislated and formal, and people are having to big organizations are signing up. The only people that are going to get caught by this and suddenly be panicking that they've got to do a tax return and be in trouble is people that have been running these little side gigs and renting their properties out without telling HMRC for the last few years and going past the £1,000 limit. They're the only people that this is going to catch out. You buying a £70 worth of jeans and selling them on eBay for 50 quid is not going to be an issue when you finish wearing them at secondhand. Like stuff like that is not in trouble.
Bad business advice there, but yeah, not making much money on that. But yeah,
so if I've brought a pair of jeans myself, worn them a few times, decided Christmas has caught up with me, it doesn't fit anymore, I'll flog them cheap on it. I could lose weight, or I could just sell them on eBay for a bit less than I made, get some of my money back. Like, that's fine. HMRC do not care.
Yeah. And your intention there is still, or is never to make money on that, right? That is just you.
Yeah, you're never going to make profit on it. Yeah. And remember, it's profit what we tax.
Yeah. So I think that's still, I mean, those rules have never changed, and that perception's never changed. But there are people out there who, their whole business model is they'll buy low, charity shops or boot sales or anything like that, and they'll go and sell it on eBay to make a profit. And the rules were always the case of, well, as long as you don't sell more than £1,000 in a given year, it's absolutely fine. And those rules are still the same. The only thing I do have confusion about is why the £1,750 thresholds come from. Like, why not just have it 1,000? Why not keep it the same as? Why do we now have another threshold to worry about?
I think that's because they've looked at it and gone, well, we're taxing £1,000 worth of profit normally, and they've gone a bit higher to try and work out to make sure the information they're getting is valid.
£1,000 of sales, so it's always been £1,000 sales.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I think what's irritating is the media at a national and local level have jumped on this and really distorted it and hyped it up for no reason. And then accountants and bookkeepers out there, especially on LinkedIn, it's been horrific on LinkedIn for the last couple of weeks, or the last week, should I say, that have read a headline and not researched this at all themselves. That's all right. Aaron's no longer a star of the show. It's now Maubrey's show. I'll get Maubrey's opinion on this in a moment. For people that accountants and bookkeepers that have gone onto social media and are pushing this and get in touch, we're here to help, we'll help you do your tax return. So it's like, hang on a minute, have you researched this? You should be educating people that actually this probably won't impact on you unless you've been doing X, Y, and Z. So I can't decide if there's accountants and bookkeepers out there on social media that are lazy and haven't researched it properly and read what's happened properly, and they're relying on media as information points, which is never a good idea because it's always got an opinion tied to it. Or are they taking advantage of the media cycle and selling on fear, which is worse, in my opinion, than just not researching this information properly. But yeah, I have to take my hat off, though, to HMRC. I don't know what's happened since over Christmas and New Year, but I think they've got new people in charge of the press office at HMRC, or the PR department, because they've countered this already. Like on LinkedIn, there's sponsored posts from HMRC with a carousel of slides explaining why this isn't an issue for you anymore. Like, and trying to basically demist the rubbish that's around this because of the media and the less informed accountants and bookkeepers out there, and any other business coaches. I've seen everyone jumping on this because it's all clickbait. But yeah, HMRC within days have been out and they are putting out social media posts to try and clear the air and explain what this actually means. In fact, that nothing's really changed. We've just got more data to analyze than we've ever had before, which was always going to happen in the software world we live in. In fact, and that's not the only case of them being PR related, but I'll come back to that in a moment. So, anything you want to add? Have we got any questions coming in for this one, Aaron?
Yeah, so Cheryl asks, so is this even in the trade? So is this even if the trade is on a personal account or is on a business account? It is for all accounts. And actually, that's the good thing. One thing we got to give hats off again to HMRC on this one is, I think the timing of bringing it out in January is good because people are already thinking about tax returns, or at least that's part and parcel of, 31st of January is around the corner. So I think there's good timing in terms of that, other than the fact that as accountants, we're now getting questions that probably we don't really want at this time of year, but that's part of the course, isn't it? But it is also good timing because what it does is it means that any of those bad eggs who have been trading, and getting away with it now don't get away with it. Like, it means that the people who are making a legitimate living out of eBay reselling and Depop reselling and all those other reselling, well, they should end up with less competition now from the people who aren't willing to declare, and that's got to be a good thing, right? So yeah, it seems like for us, it's it's the the right way to do this, and it, like you've already said, it's just a start. Like eBay, Depop, Vinted, Airbnb, how long is it going to be until everyone's going to have to start declaring? That's what Making Tax Digital is all about, right? That was what the end goal was going to be.
And also, there's this whole, we're obviously talking about self-assessment tax return right now and personal tax levels, but like the amount of clients I've had words with in the past and gone, and they've just mentioned something in passing, like, oh, I've got a cigar collection that I'm selling off on eBay. It's like, ooh, hang on a minute. Are you declaring the capital gains on that? Like, if you've brought it as a collection item and you're selling it for a profit, like there's a capital gains to be considered here. So HMRC aren't just looking at this from a personal tax point of view, but they could, because of, especially with eBay or Airbnb and stuff, isn't going to impact on anything. Well, actually, Airbnb, I suppose HMRC could check Airbnb to see if that property that's just been sold should be subject to capital gains. So that's probably where the real money is actually for HMRC, is all of these undeclared, like people sell a property and forget to mention they've Airbnb'd it. So actually inadvertently subjected their property to some capital gains. Someone sold off £10,000 worth of cigars that they only paid £5,000 for. Like, that needs reporting. Whether it's taxable or not is a different matter. So yeah, like there's two angles here for HMRC, and I think it's the capital gains is where HMRC are hoping to rake in a bit more money and make sure everyone's declaring what they should, because it's quite an ill-informed area of tax. Like, the general public aren't aware of, if you pay X amount to collect these items, then you sell them for more, it is subject to capital gains tax. People aren't aware of that. So
yeah,
I imagine that's the bigger play from HMRC.
Like Pokemon cards have been the big one lately, right? Like they've gone for ridiculous money. And then yeah, that's been, and I think you're right. That's another clampdown from HMRCs for going forward. Paul says eBay had to provide details of all customers back in 2015. Yeah, and again, explain these issues to Uber drivers since they lost the workers' rights case. Yeah, it's been interesting on both fronts there, hasn't it? And these things are going to continue to happen. Like, we're going to have more and more of these issues coming up. I think the bit here though Kirsty raises is the bit that's most frustrating for the likes of us is, yeah, there's confusion about the 1,000 versus 1,750, because prior to this it was always, well, my personal allowance is £12,000 odd, so surely if I don't earn more than £12,000 I don't need to worry about it. That was the bit that myth buster we had to keep drilling home to people, right? There was that threshold of £12,000 odd or whatever the personal allowance is going to be at the point, and we always had to fight that and then say, look, no, it's actually £1,000 of income. Like, if you earn more than £1,000 of income in a given year, you need to start declaring it. So again, throw in a £1,750, which I believe it's £1,750 and 30 items in a year. I believe that's the EU law, because that was €2,000. I think that's where it's come from. But why we haven't just gone £1,000 and 30 items or whatever, that's what it should have been. Like, keep it consistent.
I think it's really simple. The rules haven't changed. If you make over £1,000 in sales of anything in a year, it has to be reported to HMRC. If you don't report it and you go over 1,700, that's Airbnb, Uber, eBay. They're going to report it to HMRC for you. So you are going to get caught if you go that high. So there's almost a bit of leeway for.
Don't tell anyone.
Basically, HMRC. No, but HMRC are going, look, we trust you to report it, but for those that are less honest, we're going to make sure it's reported once it gets to this level.
Yeah.
As you say, where that level's come from, I don't know. It has no bearing on what we do and don't do with a tax return. Like, we stick to our usual rules of anything over £1,000 gets declared.
Yeah.
But just know, if you don't tell us, you will get caught by these new rules if it's over £1,700.
I wonder if the 1,700 is more of maybe like a protection against yo-yoing. You know, you may just have this 1 year where you've moved house, you've just sold everything you've got. All right, you've never had intention to sell, so actually you don't need to declare it. You're just, like you said, selling off old stuff, and it's gone to 1,500, for example.
Yeah.
But then next year you don't even touch eBay. Maybe that's what the idea is about. It's like let's give them a bit of a leeway. You know, if eBay is just being used to sell off secondhand stuff, like you said before, fair enough. Like, you go to town on it. But if you're consistently hitting that £1,000, then, and your intention is to make a profit out of it, then we should be declaring it. So Paul says, I haven't found any announcement if this is affecting the Facebook marketplace. Facebook marketplace don't hold that data, so they don't know how much has been sold. So
there's no central database at all.
HMRC would love to have that. They'd also love booties as well, like boot sales, but no, it's not digital enough, is it, to get that information in. So interesting times ahead. I'm sure this topic will rear its ugly head again and again and again. We've definitely seen a massive increase in new inquiries about it. So we'll see how it goes from there.
Just going back into press and HMRC, I really like. HMRC have had a bit of stick for this, but I quite like it. Like, fair play to them, because HMRC have always been this boring social media posting organization.
Yep.
Did you all see where Luke Litter, the 16-year-old who won £200,000, like, Sky News do a tweet saying, "Oh, he's going to lose the majority, like nearly 50% of it to the tax man." It's like, well, yeah, of course he is. It's income. Like, now, with the right advice, he probably is going to offset quite a bit of that. There's his travel costs of going to the event and staying at the event. There's all sorts of running costs. There's all sorts of, agency costs, and he's got various physios and all of this good stuff. And he's got 16-year-olds he can put into his pension, can't he? So that'd be nice. So he's got lots of things he can do to offset some of that tax bill. But Sky News decided this was a newsworthy headline, bit of clickbait, that just to really anger the mob. And HMRC then retweeted it saying, "We can confirm the existence of income tax." So loads of people jumped on HMRC for saying this and doing it. It's like, well, it's factual. Like, and fair play to HMRC for saying, yeah, we are going to tax that, because most people think it's not taxable, and actually it is. But someone in HMRC is having a good week for their PR work. They're doing very well. I'm very impressed with them. And if this is a new direction for the HMRC PR team, then good for them.
Yeah, they need it, don't they? They need that, like, being out there and pushing it. And it just reminds me as well of all the silly season tax, or the media just pushing on it, right? Like, what was the news article I saw the other day? It was 20 million people are about to get £100 tax bill, blah 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 blah, a £100 tax penalty, blah 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 blah. It's just silly season at the moment, isn't it? And that's like you said, like you said, with HMRC having the opportunity to kind of have a bit of a cheeky push back, we're all for it, aren't we?
Definitely. And there's a few reasons that this is a silly season in particular that we don't normally see. So we've got tax season. We've also got a government in power that's renowned for increasing taxes and not reducing taxes. So the media is really hitting that hard, especially considering it's election year. So yeah, like it's just a combination of factors that, you know, a lot of the posts that I've seen is, oh, I can't even sell my kid's old school uniform without paying tax now. It's like, well, yes, you can actually. Stop being an idiot. But yeah, so there is a lot of false news out there, clickbait, shall we say, to be aware of.
Yeah, and like you said though, if they are selling their items for £1,000 of school clothes, then maybe there should be some. That's quite an expensive school clothes, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, okay. So that has been the update on silly season and the fact that we've got the social media. What about Iris? Haven't they had a bit of a cash injection you were talking about? Do you want to fill us in on the data on the details, and then we'll speculate after that.
Yeah. Iris have decided that they want to do a huge push into America. They've got big dreams for America. So to do that, they've decided to raise some money. I don't know how much they've raised, but what I do know is it's now revalued the Iris group, as it were, at £3.15 billion, which is up in the last 5 years, going on 6, from 1.3 billion. So it's not a bad bit of growth, is it? Like, to get that kind of valuation, it's not a bad job at all, really. But yeah, basically, all the different press releases and stuff I'm seeing, it's the main focus is they want to take and I'll quote this, the British success story and push it into America. So they decided what they're doing in the UK is a complete success, and nothing's gone wrong. We don't mention Santa or cash flow or anything else, but Iris is doing really well, and we're going to copy and paste that into America, and we're going to go and take on the likes of Sage and QuickBooks in America. Which, yeah, good luck to them. They're going to need a lot of money to do that. Like, I mean, look, how many times has Zero tried to break into America? And all it's done is broken the bank account several times over. So yeah, no, like, we'll over Christmas and New Year, it's always a bit quiet on the old accounting news and the tech news, and we'll come on to why it's quiet on the tech news in a moment. But yeah, so when we find a few headlines, we will chat about them. And yeah, this is it. The Iris's American dreams and ambitions to conquer America. And to do that, they've been revalued by £1.8 billion extra.
Yeah, it's not a bad little growth, is it? Especially when you think that they've not really acquired anyone. So this is for a long time in terms of they're normally quite prolific in acquiring, aren't they? To the detriment of the software they acquired, but that's one for another conversation. But normally you would see their growth is because they've acquired X, acquired Y, synergies and everything else has boosted their portfolio and they go up from there. So this is all internal growth, isn't it? Really, I
Yeah.
can't think of anything that's should have moved the needle that much that would have.
It's interesting though that we're saying it's internal growth, because when you look at Iris from a small accounting business, like many people are either with them and just, oh, it's fine, but we're not moving.
Yeah,
but it's not great. So, or they've moved away, like, Center gone.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if this growth is being seen in like the auditing side of things, the bigger part of the market,
Yeah.
the bigger firms are out there. So that could well be where they're seeing their growth. And oh dear, Aaron, Mulberry is destroying Aaron's studio. But yeah, it's interesting because Iris isn't something we keep a close eye on.
No.
We do when they're dabbling in the small accounting and bookkeeping softwares and destroying them, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is going to be interesting to see what they deliver in America and how well they do with that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's interesting to think what they're going to go for, isn't it? Like, because if it is auditing and everything, I'm sure that's all. Like America's already got that sewn up. I'm sure they have. I can't imagine there's much of a
It's a bigger
opportunity.
market in America
I guess it is. Yeah.
because they have lower barriers, lower
Like,
boundaries, don't they? Like, so in the UK, you don't audit unless you go over like 10 million turnover, etc., etc. So
yeah.
actually, when you look at the amount of small businesses versus all the big businesses, it's quite a highly fought over market for audit.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
America, there's a lot more people and a lot bigger percentage of the audience has to be audited. So I do wonder if Iris have just seen that as that's where the cash is.
An opportunity. Yeah. Because though it's caseware and everything else normally has the
Yeah.
the hold on it. Andy says they do power all the school apps. So do they have government contracts? Could this be a growth? That's interesting, isn't it? That they could have that opportunity to push in there, and that value is probably purely based on the amount raised. Yeah, probably, but it still shows that
It always is.
there's an appetite there for growth,
Yeah.
isn't there? It has to come through.
Yeah,
so.
the financials have obviously demonstrated, like their pitch deck to their investors have said, look, we believe we have increased our value by this, and this is how we've done it.
Yeah. I mean, is there a case that they're trying to take their tax elements? Because, again, in the US, we don't know everything about it, but it is primarily it's Intuit pro-tax, isn't it, that drives majority of the taxation requirements over there. They've got a
Yeah.
huge threshold of stranglehold on it. They're not really, you can't imagine their bookkeeping side is going to be anything that does it even really properly exist anymore? The Connect or whatever it was called. So I can't imagine cash flow. That's it. Yeah. So I can't imagine that's going to be a big push. But maybe their whole tax elements, like a US version of tax elements, could be a way in. Self-service almost, because that's what they like over there, isn't it? It's very much self-service. That's why ProTax has been so powerful for Intuit. So is that there? Could that be a way in for them, that they're looking for that small fry, subscription model base? But I mean, the
I'd
amount of
argue
people
though that's a low return on investment for the amount they're going to have to spend to get in there.
True.
Like, whereas audit, they can basically tell them to write a blank check.
That's true.
What they can charge over there for that. But no, it's going to be interesting to see what they focus on and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Our next topic then is a bit of a soapbox moment, I think, especially for myself. I've had a lot, or I've seen a lot on social media about people complaining, and rightly so, about the accounting industry at the moment, and we're having problems in terms of recruitment, which we definitely do have, and we've definitely got to find ways to make this better. But I do fear that at the moment, the biggest problem we've got is that not enough people are taking responsibility for it. It always seems to be a case of, oh, well, the AAT and all the professional bodies aren't doing enough, or the colleges aren't doing enough, or everything else aren't doing enough to bring people in. And I've even heard from top 4 people saying that their recruitment's just as bad over there, but we're not bringing in the right caliber of staff, and we're struggling to recruit and everything else. I just wonder, at what point do we all kind of take that responsibility ourselves? It seems to be like we're quick to pass the buck. We're quick to say, that there is a problem and everything else. But I just feel like everyone needs to do their bit. And especially in this community, we've got loads of examples of where people are doing it really well. Like if we look at the asset accountant community, I feel like a lot of people are showcasing why accountancy or bookkeeping or payroll or whatever profession that that they're standing for. They're showing how good a career it can be. Just look at the Lucre Awards and how much they were showing how passionate they were for the bookkeepers and how they helped one another and got people in there. But apart from those little pockets, I don't feel like the industry is doing anything out there, and I do feel like it's up to us. It's our responsibility to fix this problem. It's our responsibility to make it out. I mean, you've been doing loads on day in the life of and items like that, just to showcase what it is like to work as an accountant, right? And that's evergreen content that we can showcase of what being accountants actually is all about, not just the stereotypical. But what do you think? Do you think there is an opportunity for more people to do more, or do you think that there's just it's not worth our time and effort?
We've got to do something to tackle the recruitment challenge that is out there, and
Yeah.
we need to change the perception of the accounting and bookkeeping industry at school levels, where before people make choices. There's no point of pushing it at college and university because they've already made choices in their careers and what direction they think they're going to take and stuff. We need to get in
Yeah.
there younger. You know what I saw at the business show in London in November that I really liked, and I think every single conference facilitator in the UK for accounting and bookkeeping should be taking into account.
Go for it.
They had loads of groups of like teenagers, like GCSE level people going around doing case studies, doing research. Like they were allowed in to go and get a feel of the business world.
Yeah.
And to do whatever modules of their GCSEs coursework they were doing. If Fab, QuickBooks, Digital Accountancy Show, Accountex, etc., reached out to secondary schools, inviting them to come and have a look at the events, I think we wouldn't have to do anything overly extravagant ourselves to be seen as, actually, this is quite a cool industry to be in. Because you and I walk around those events all year, every year, and we love like the personalities, we love the culture, the environment, the openness, the friendliness, etc. That is not what secondary school, college, and university students perceive as the accounting industry. Whereas if we invited them into events like that, where they get to come and see these speakers talking about AI, talking about leadership and culture and environment and stuff like that, actually they'd be doing an incredible service to our industry by bringing them into those events. But not once have I seen a group of school, college, or university students at an event like that, and we do them all. You and I can, hand on heart, say, yeah, we get an idea of the attendees, and that's not there.
Yeah, 100%. And we've got people agreeing in the chat as well. So Jodie says, I 100% agree that we all have to play our part. At Swift campus, we are working with high schools and university in South Africa to give students the opportunity to do projects on our Swift platform, to help them understand what accounting tools like in the real world and how tech plays a part. Our view is that it will also help students get excited about accounting. I couldn't agree more. And that's the cool bit, right? Like, that is the bit that we need to start showcasing for the younger generation, like that cool bit of tech that is there. Like, that's the whole element of it, right? That's the bit that we want to be pushing. Like, that is the bit that's going to get students excited. They're not necessarily going to get excited about filing a VAT return, but cool tech like we've got there, that's exactly what we want to be showing to them.
Yeah. Paul's also said, sounds like a great idea. Got to be better than the kids going to a trip to Chessington. And yeah, like the amount of business trips that I did, we went to Asda for the day, like in my business studies for GCSE.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, you know what? It was quite an interesting experience to see the behind the scenes logistics of Asda. Don't get me wrong. But Asda definitely, as they rolled out manager after manager to come and talk to us, they had definitely seen this as a recruitment opportunity day.
Yeah.
And fair play to them. So they should. But yeah, like I genuinely think we can easily reach out to schools, colleges, and universities within a radius of each event and invite them in to come and see what the industry is about.
Yeah,
because
I love that idea.
Especially now we've all moved on from talking about NTD. Like now we're talking about coaching, leadership, value adding, AI, all of these great technologies, all of this great networking. No one can go to that and walk away and go, yeah, that, you know what, the accounting industry is exactly what I thought it was. Like they can all go away, like, that application of AI is quite cool. I hadn't thought of working in accounting. I wanted to work with AI in the latest tech, but actually maybe I can do that in the accounting industry. Like that could be huge.
Yeah, exactly right. And I also feel like every one of us can just do a little bit more in terms of just showcasing it on social media, right? Like all we need to do is just put positivity out there about, oh, I helped my client do this. And I was able to, get this opportunity and work with these people. And I've just found this new piece of tech that I think is really cool and going to help clients out. And I feel like that's what we need to push more of and put it through. I mean, I know we were looking at forward for our social media planning for the year, and every one of our brands we're looking at. Well, one of our pillars has to be trying to make it more appealing for out there. And I feel, it's a nice and easy bit of content that people can do, because it is, it's quite nice to showcase the good parts about your job, right, and your firm. So, if we all kind of make that conscious effort to have one of our pillars for social media to be trying to show how the industry is a good place to work in, it's got to be beneficial for everyone, right? I mean, we're doing a bit of a push now at the moment to get some new staff members in at Bofix, and we really want to push the fact that this is an opportunity for people who probably haven't thought about accounting before, probably never really thought that that was the right one for them, but actually, there's enough people out there that could really benefit from coming into the profession. So, yeah, I feel like there's an opportunity for us all. We're all sat here trying to figure out what our social media plans are going to be for 2024. I feel like we can all do a small part, and that's all it takes, right? Just 1 or 2 posts a year, just to put it out there, just to give us an opportunity to showcase how good the profession can be.
Yeah, definitely.
Paul also says kids are already aware of AI. Teachers having to train to look out for students using ChatGPT in their work. Yeah, that's true. But
of course, kids are aware of AI. Like, that's like when we were growing up, we were aware of all the latest tech and stuff that adults probably were still slow catching up to. Like, the kids, what's important is that we show the kids that actually that latest tech that you're excited about and you're playing with now is in use already and could be used greater in this industry, where, if a kid's going through school going, oh, I like AI, it's intriguing, I want to play with AI, would they naturally think, might go into the accounting world?
Yeah,
because of AI. No, they wouldn't. So we need to educate them on that. This is really important to the UK's industry of accounting, is that AI could be a huge feature. So yeah.
And again, showcase the fun side of accountancy. Like, the idea of AI is to come in to help us make sure that those, more mediocre tasks that maybe have been the drain on people's, mental well-being in the past, some of that can be, not all of it, but some of it can be prevented by, or at least, made easier by AI. So if we can leverage more of that and then showcase the more exciting stuff, which is helping clients and trying to help them grow and all the stuff we love about the industry, then that's where it's going to come into play, right? And it again, we don't showcase that we enjoy doing VAT returns and tax returns. We showcase that we love helping the businesses out there. So yeah. I think we just need to we need to get that message out there much more clearer than it already is, don't we? And again, it shouldn't just be us. It has to be from the top. We need the top fours doing the same and pushing that forward.
Yeah, governing bodies, top 4, but also conferences. I don't think anyone's ever considered the conferences' role in this, and I think they could have a huge role in a way that, AAT going into a school won't help.
Yeah,
like because they send in someone in a suit, and it's just stereotypical accounting, bookkeeping stuff. Whereas if you send them to like a conference, which is completely, imagine sending a group of kids to blooming digital accountancy show. They'll walk away thinking the accounting world is Ibiza. Like, if that doesn't get their interest, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think there's a lot we could do, and you and I will be prodding the bigger players in this to, like, conferences to consider things like that. I think.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
100%.
and copyright that idea quickly before anyone starts saying it was their idea. It's on record. 11 minutes past 9 on the
8th. So our next topic is, while we're talking about 2024, well, what tech predictions have we got in 2024? It seems like, if you just kind of take an opportunity to just look at it as a whole, it seems like it's all going to be AI based in 2024. That's all we're going to have excitement for. I think, and I fear, that maybe we're just that little bit too soon for pure AI. We're going to have a little little bits of it here and there, little sprinkles of it. But I think based on what we've already seen, we're all excited for the end goal of AI, and there will be bits to enhance here and there. But I don't think 2024 is going to be dominated by it. What do you think? Do you think it's a little bit too soon, or do you think there's an opportunity for it to be just that's all we're going to be talking about in 2024?
I think it will be autumn, winter 2024 before we see any really significant stepping stones in AI and built into our tech. We're seeing it in places. So like SIF Analytics have got AI generated commentary and stuff like that, and that's all good. And we're seeing more and more reporting tools. So I think they're going to be the ones that we're going to see AI in first, is reporting tools. Yeah. Logically, it makes sense to have AI embedded into our document capturing tool. So auto entries, Dexts, the Aprons of the world to help or sense check things and stuff like that. But I don't think we're going to see anything major until end of this year, because everyone's still testing it and checking the security of it and stuff like that. I think between now and then, the focus is actually going to be on new features that aren't AI driven, and just functionality that will then become even more powerful once AI is introduced.
Yeah,
because a lot of software providers are still deciding, do we build our own AI, which takes time,
that's not
or
gonna
and
be
money,
right? Yeah,
like if you look at the amount of money QuickBooks, Intuit are pouring into Intuit Assist, and the amount of resources and stuff, it takes a lot of time and money.
Yeah.
Or do you partner with OpenAI, Microsoft, Bing, whoever, to understand and to use their AI power? But with that comes certain risks of security and data privacy, because you build it yourself and you control exactly what the AI can and can't see, and what it does and doesn't store, and what it does and doesn't learn from. Other providers, you can't have that same level of control on. So at the moment, software providers, I think, are making those decisions as to, do we do this ourselves, or do we plug into a third party? And whichever way we go, what do we think the value add is for our users?
And I think a lot of them have
can't
also
be hugely expensive.
No. Otherwise, people are going to be put off from it, right? Like, yeah, we've already seen that, haven't we? We've seen the fact that software out there are trying to put little add-ons here and there and trying to make, but at the end of the day, we're all being price sensitive. Look at Dex trying to change their pricing structure to what it should have been from day one, right? And how much backlash they had when they tried to put that to the proper value of what it was, what the tech was all about. If they added another X amount on top of that to have an AI-driven OCR technology, it's not going to go down well, is it? And it's already going to be in a difficult place for them. But I do feel like a lot of the software out there, they don't just need to figure out if they're going to partner with others and build their own. And I think a lot of them are going to be forced to partner, aren't they? I don't think, other than your Intuits of the world, I don't think there's that many out there. I know Sage are looking at maybe building their own, aren't they? But
Sage have done a certain amount of it themselves. So I think Intuit and Sage will do their own, but the smaller providers, the app providers, are going to have to partner, I think.
They are, but it's about how far they partner and how that's going to do, because a lot of the AI goodness that's going to come out of it, as we've said a long time, is going to be more about the ecosystem. It's the ecosystem that's going to benefit, right? Just having your OCR technology, having new AI solution will have some benefits, but it won't have as much benefits if that OCR technology could also talk to your practice management solution and to your bookkeeping FMS solution and have all those integrations that's there. So I feel like a lot of this is going to be about how that ecosystem can be closed, because otherwise people are going to end up, they're going to be so far behind in terms of a full-blown ecosystem like Intuit, like Iris, like Bright, that they're going to almost become irrelevant. I feel like that's got to be where the focus needs to be on how they kind of still have that relevance going forward. Otherwise, we're just going to it is just going to be going forward. Well, which ecosystem do you use? And that's the end of the story, where we don't have what we have now, where we can find best in class and connect them forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what we're going to see is as well the people like Apron coming in and doing Snap. So Apron's launching Snap later this year, which is like their receipt capture software. So that's there to challenge auto entry, Dext, HubSpot, etc. And I do think some of these softwares, when you look at them, you think, what have you actually developed and launched in the last year or so? That's actually a brand new feature. It's not a tweak. It's not a slight upgrade or improvement in response times. You know, like, yes, that's all important, but what's the new feature? And I think people like Apron coming into the market and going, boom, we have now got this great new piece of software with these great features that no one else has got, or that's what's important.
Yeah, exactly. But do you think, though, the Snap solution's a great example of it, right? They're basically trying to own that whole journey from start to finish.
Yeah.
And do you think there's any other examples out there where, you know, realistically, where software have in the past, you know, utilized a third party like Bright Manager or Accounting Manager, whatever you want to call them now, they didn't rely on, but they really pushed for Go Proposal to be their proposal of choice, and they had this nice integration with them that would work. And then they decided, no, actually, we need to own that journey and push it forward. Are there other examples of that, do you think, in 2024 that we can see people going, look, you know, this has been a nice partnership, we've had a nice relationship here, but now it's probably time to build our own? Because I fear this is where we're going to see even more aggressive fights from the likes of Starlin and Revolut and Tide. I feel like they're, you know, basic at the moment, FMS solution, bookkeeping solution, whatever you want to call it. I feel 2024 is when they're going to really push for that to be a more of a standalone, or not standard, but more of a viable product. You know, if they start giving accountants access and stuff like that, there is potential for that to be a really powerful piece of kit, right?
Yeah, definitely. I can't think of any other examples. I mean, the problem is people go out and it's how they market it, I suppose, but they go out going, oh, well, we've now got our own proposal tool.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, is it in line with best in class, like Go Proposal and Practice Ignition? And a lot of the time they're going, no, it's as good or better. And it's like, is it? Have you really understood what you're trying to compete against? So, yeah, or are you just seeing an opportunity to spin off more money, basically?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. Like, I mean, obviously, Client Engager, we've got our own proposal tool and stuff, but at no point do we ever say this is a rival for Go Proposal. Like,
No.
what we have in Go, it's functional and it does the job, but it doesn't have the whole ethos and stuff that Go Proposal does. Now, what's going to happen with Go Proposal over the next year or so? Now, James is backed away, but James has left the industry before Christmas. So James Ashford. So, you know, I think Go Proposal have got a hell of a job to maintain the teachings and the learnings that James used to deliver to Go Proposal users.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to see a lot of disruption in the industry, software industry space in the next year. Yeah, that disruption started in 2023 with the likes of Apron coming in, disrupting payment providers.
Yeah.
They're now going to disrupt receipt capture. Client Engagers come in and disrupting the practice management software industry. You know, Sage are still kicking backsides and disrupting Xero and QuickBooks, you know, space in the market that no one really thought. If you and I sat there in 2022 or 2020, 2021 and go, when Sage is going to give them a bloody good run for their money, we'd have laughed at each other, never mind everyone laughing at us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2023, I think we saw the start of real disruption in the software space again. And I think 2024 is going to continue with that.
Yeah.
But it's for those small startups, there's not as much money out there to build out the disruption as there used to be. So they need to be able to deliver this on a more business type model rather than a investor model. So yeah, because while we were down for Christmas and New Year, like Capitalize made a load of redundancies because investors look to be pulling out or not continuing their investment going forwards. And you just sit there going, like 22 and 23, we saw a lot of investment no longer available for the accounting software space. We saw redundancies left, right, and center. Like Xero made redundancies. Like it's a big challenge for those software companies to change how they run because they thrive off investment, whereas now they need to be better at bootstrapping. So yeah, there's a lot of disruption for a lot of different reasons coming up in 2024, I think.
Yeah, completely agree. And we've talked about Sabre. I think Free Agent need to have props as well, don't they? I mean, they really pushed for their niche kind of, let's make sure, for the right client, they're the perfect solution, and they've really pushed for that, haven't they? So yeah, it's going to be an interesting 2024. I generally do believe though that the banks are going to push more for their solution. That's their end goal, isn't it? They want to own that because it's a subscription-based model for them. It's easy, right?
They've got so much work to do there. Like literally, someone rang me last week saying, "Look, I've been storing all my receipts in Monzo because they've told me that's what I do."
To it.
It's like, cool, we can't access it. He said, "Never mind you, I can't get the bloody things off. Like, I can't run any reports. I don't know why we were told to do this." It's like, well, for a start, we wouldn't have told you to do this. I mean, this was a brand new person to us. We hadn't spoken to them before. Like, yeah, but Monzo told us we can do this, this, and this. What's the point if we can't then access the data? It's like, well, go and ask Monzo. So yeah,
and that's an added subscription for Monzo as well, isn't it? It's a paid for whatever, £5 a month, whatever the price point is. But it is an add-on for them, isn't it?
Yeah. So like, I think it's almost been missold. Even if it's like it's Starling and it's free, it's a missale that it's not actually as useful as it sounds at the moment. It could be, which could be interesting for that lower end of the market. But yeah, it's a year of disruption, I think, in 2024.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see it. And speaking of disruption, Paul says, my hope for 2024 is the drastic improvement to QuickBooks receipt capture and more integrations with Client Engager. Well, I'm pretty confident receipt capture is going to get a bit of loving in 2024. I think that makes sense.
I also caveat that with, remember, it's a free tool. Yeah, there's only so much money and time that can be spent on a free tool. And if it's not a free tool that was ever built for accounting and bookkeeping firms of scale in mind, it was built for small business user. And accountants and bookkeepers need to start realizing that. And if they want a decent data extraction tool that's efficient, then it's something you're probably going to have to pay for.
Yeah, exactly right. When it comes to integration with Client Engager, I suppose there must be something on the pipeline you can't talk about, but yeah, there's got to be more deals to be had there, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas at the moment. So up to the end of January, we're focusing on user permissions. We're focusing on time tracking, saving emails to timelines, HMRC 648 requests. We've got Sage and Free Agent desperate to integrate with us in the same way we've got Xero and QuickBooks, or Xero will be soon enough once it's certified. We're talking to other small providers that are software firms built by accountants for accountants. Like, there seems to be quite a lot of them out there at the moment, which is quite interesting. And if we can all work together, then maybe there's something to be done there. So yeah, and our users are sending in ideas on a daily basis. Like this Friday, we've got a new help center going live, and in that help center will be a list of every idea we've been given. So you can see if your idea is on there. If not, submit it. And it will also have our roadmap on there for whatever we're working on at the time. But we don't plan years in advance or anything. We just look at the next 2 or 3 months and go, right, this is the roadmap for that period of time.
Yeah, which is the sensible way, don't it? This LinkedIn user says, I cancelled my contract with Dex this week. And Chris Downing says, and this is why Sage is the back end to Tide and some organizations support the collaboration between business bank users and accountant bookkeeper. Yeah, the Tide one's really interesting at the moment. I feel like they've done well. And a lot of them, I think, are seeing the Metal and the NatWest integration with Free Agent and seeing how popular that is.
Yeah.
It is that mentality, isn't it? It's like, you already got the bank account, and if they're going to give you a discounted or even free in some situations bookkeeping software, why wouldn't you use it when it's going to be right for your business?
Yeah, and like Virgin Money, they've got when you sign up to a business account with them, they give you 3 months free of QuickBooks or Xero. Now there's no integrations into them other than a bank feed that you can get regardless of what bank you're with, really. But yeah, I think RBS, NatWest, that group, Tide and Virgin Money are all very much we're going to partner with the best in class to do something here. Starling, Monzo seem to think they can do their own thing, and that's great, but it needs to deliver, and it needs to actually be functional and practical and usable, and it can't be this mythological dream that they're selling at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. And especially when it's going to get more complicated. We've just had this eBay talk at the beginning of this show. Realistically, if you're going to be targeting those resellers who are now starting to feel like, or people who've now hit that £1,000 or £1,750 threshold, and they're suddenly going to have to start worrying about it, then they need a competent piece of software that's going to be able to record it for them, because that's ultimately the hardest bit, right, for them. It's not even filing their tax returns. There's plenty of guides and plenty of help for them, or they can get an accountant to help them, whichever's right for them. But actually doing the bookkeeping is far more complicated than it needs to be because of the whole grossing up matter. Same with Airbnb, same with all of them. As soon as you start bringing grossing up, then that's where your simple Revolut or Starling software falls flat, right? Because it can't handle that complexity. And then suddenly you've got to go onto another piece of software, and suddenly it all becomes more difficult for them. So, right, quickly then, we've got a few minutes left. Why has technology, why have we got no tech roundup this week? Why is there nothing to talk about in the world of tech? Well, there's a little event going on called CES 2024. Do you want to give a quick explanation to what CES is and why we should all be excited?
Yeah, so CES is a tech conference of all tech conferences. It happens every January over in Las Vegas. It's basically, it puts Accountex, it makes Accountex look this big. Like in the UK, lots of software firms save their bookkeeping accounting softwares, save their announcements for Accountex. Take that and apply it to the technology world. Like, this is where all the software providers and tech builders are going to be launching all their press releases with all their new features, all their new gear for the year ahead, basically, from mobile phones, laptops, devices like that, right through to electric cars, microphones, cameras, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, the YouTube feeds are going to be busy for the next couple of weeks off the back of this.
Yep. Is there anything we should be particularly excited for? I know a lot of this time there's going to be opportunities for us to find more technology to help us do content. That's always going to be a one that I keep an eye out for. So your cameras of the world, your microphones of the world. We're pretty confident DJI is going to bring out, something exciting to talk about, and we can talk about that next week. But is there anything else people should, is there anything that you would recommend people keep an eye out for?
It's normally at these events that we see like the UI updates and new features that we're going to see in cars. So like Mercedes and Audi and everyone like that will be at these events going, these are the new safety features that we've got coming. These are the new AI features that we've got coming to our cars. So they'll park themselves or whatever it is they're going to do. We normally, off the back of this event, see Samsung launch their new phones for the year ahead. So yeah, like any tech you're interested in, there's probably going to be some kind of release in the next week. Monitors, Samsung, LG, all of those guys will be at this event launching all their next generation monitors and stuff. So yeah, it will be plenty of YouTube binge watching for me over the next couple of weeks to see what I'm going to do to upgrade the office next, or waste more money, as the wife calls it.
I tell you one that people should be keeping an eye on. It's this company called X-Real. You were the one who got them first, wasn't it? The glasses where you get to have your screens on and everything else. Apparently, they've got something big in the works that they want to say is going to rival the Apple Vision Pro. So might be worth keeping an eye on that. I mean, for me, having this along with me for this trip has been a lifesaver because I'm away from my multi-camera, multi-monitor setup. But it's not a problem. I can stick my glasses on and have multiple screens if I need them. It just keeps you more efficient, right? And if they're going to bring out something that's going to be even more, useful and even more powerful, then that's got to be something to keep an eye on, isn't it? I think we're still at I think it's safe to say that the solutions we have are still very much beta, aren't they? They're very much, we're kind of just testing it for the rest of them.
Yeah.
But I feel like, exactly, but the learnings that they could get from that and just put it in there, I think is going to be powerful, isn't it? So yeah, interesting to keep an eye out for. Right then, everyone, I think that's it. I think we have come to time. Thank you, everyone, for bringing in your messages. We've had some person tell them that they've cancelled their contract with Dex this week. And Paul says, also, Tide are one of the few banks that let you bring in other bank feeds. I do like that about some of the banks at the moment that are helping you bring in other bank feeds. But yeah, it's all good to see. All right. Well, thank you, everyone who has been talking to us on the chat. Thank you for putting in your questions and putting your comments in. It's been very much appreciated. We'll be back same time next week, 8:30 a.m. on a Monday morning. I'll be back in my office and my studio, so I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully, we'll be a week further ahead on silly season, and we'll have some conversations and topics to bring in there for you. Jan, what have you got planned for this week? Anything exciting people should be looking out for?
Nothing major. What have I got coming? Oh, we're deploying Chat Window. So Chat Window is like this new tool that will power WhatsApp communication with our clients in a central place, so me and my team can all see everything going on. So that deploys this week. So yeah, no, as you say, we're just cracking on with silly season. We've got clients out there that still haven't sent us anything. Which, when you look at when they sent it last year and the year before, that's not unusual for them. But while we've got some downtime in between, we're taking on more tax returns clients as well. So, yeah, we're cracking on and just getting through January. So we're ready to start the touring season. That will be February onwards.
Yeah, because it all starts off and kicks off with QuickBooks Connect, doesn't it?
It does.
In February. So we're looking forward to that, which we are there. We're looking forward to seeing everyone who is coming along. Right then, everyone, that is it. That is another episode of Ask the Accountant, back to our live ones. And we look forward to see you next week. Same time, same place. And we can talk about the week that has been. Right. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you all soon.
See you later.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.